We are having a huge heat wave the week that I am filming this video, so I thought what better time to make some fabulous, refreshing, and fancy drinks. So I'm going to be making some drinks recipes from Good Food magazine. This issue is from July of 1987, so I would have been about 6 years old when this came out. I did a full flip through of this issue over on Patreon, so I showed every item on every page of this magazine if that's something that you want to check out, but I came across these really cool drinks recipes, and I thought, why not give them a try? As I was flipping through this magazine, I spotted, well, some very interesting recipes, but let me just take the label off here. This limeade really spoke to me. Mostly because you're making a lime syrup, which means you don't have to make a big batch of limeade all at once. You can make the syrup and then make the individual drinks as needed, which is just perfect for me. I love that. The limeade syrup is basically simple syrup with lime. So we're starting with sugar and water. And I'm cutting the recipe given in half, but the great news is when you make this syrup, it's one part of each thing. So it's very easy to scale up and down as needed. You know, I had half a cup of lime juice, so it's half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water. So I need to heat this sugar and water together until it is boiling. Okay, as you can see, we have boiling. So I need to take the heat on this down quite a bit and let it simmer. Cover it first and let it simmer for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. I'm gonna take the heat off of this. This has simmered, and you just have a simple syrup at this point. If you've ever wondered how do you make simple syrup, it's 1 part water and 1 part sugar, and you boil them until the sugar is dissolved. But before I can add my lime juice, I need to let this come to room temperature. My simple syrup is cool to room temperature, and now I just need to mix in lime juice. This is half a cup of lime juice. I happen to have a whole bunch of limes. Like, I bought more than I needed and I didn't want them to go bad, and this was kind of perfect to use them up. To recap amounts, it is half a cup of sugar, half a cup of water, half a cup of lime juice. Easy to scale up or down because it's 1 part of each thing. So now that I've mixed in the lime juice, all that's left is to make a limeade. I'm just storing the rest of my lime syrup in a jar. I have this cute little like pour top lid on it, and you just store it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. But to make this syrup into limeade, you need 3 tablespoons of the syrup. I'm gonna pour this over just a few ice cubes. And here's kind of the fun part. You can just use regular water if you want. You need 8 ounces of water, or they suggest seltzer water, sparkling water. Exciting. I always have a whole assortment of like flavored seltzer or sparkling water on hand, and then I have plain too. Because sometimes you just want a little plain with maybe a squeeze of lime, or you want to make it into a sparkling limeade. So just add slowly your water or sparkling water, what have you, and stir it up and you've got limeade. Isn't that nice just to be able to make this 1 glass at a time? Okay, sparkling limeade. Can't really smell the lime in it. Let's try it though. I can certainly taste the lime in it. Refreshing. Yeah, that's really good. A little bit of tartness, a little bit of sweetness. Great with the sparkling water, but you can also just use regular water. I think you could do like a cherry limeade too if you add a little cherry syrup. That could be fun, right? Next up, I am making some Spearmint Iced Tea. And of course, this is very simple. I think this particular recipe is gonna have more of a traditional like black tea kind of flavor with just a hint of mint. So to make a full recipe, it says you need 2 bags of black tea. This is actually equivalent to 2 bags. This is like a family-sized tea bag. And 1 tea bag of spearmint. I have this mint medley that's spearmint and peppermint, so I figured close enough. And I'm gonna brew this actually in my little Pyrex here. So I need to pour 4 cups of boiling water over this. I just boiled some in my kettle, very easy, right? I think the mint is gonna make this especially refreshing. I let the tea steep for maybe 5-6 minutes, something like that. And you could stop here if you wanted to, but I'm gonna sweeten it. This is 2 tablespoons of sugar. So it's still hot, so this should dissolve pretty easily. And once it's dissolved, I'm just gonna let it go and like let it hang out until it cools to room temperature. Here, we've got a Spearmint Iced Tea. I'm trying to show you my glass. It's a little hard, but it's got these big like overlapping apples on it. I used to have 3 of these. I never got a set of 4, but I think I broke 1. So now I have a set of 2. It kind of makes it more even, right? Anyway, let's give this a try. Ooh, refreshing. Yeah. So it has that like, I don't know what you would call it. It's like the black tea, like that iced tea flavor. And then it's got this nice mintiness. I've brewed just like straight up herbal mint tea as iced tea before, and it tastes good, but this has got more of that like iced tea flavor, and just it's super lightly sweetened. There's not a lot of sugar in it. Yeah, this is very nice. This is probably the fanciest drink of the three that I'm making, and it's called Peach Orange Ginger Fizz. And what the heck, like peach, orange, and ginger just sounds fantastic together. The full recipe makes 4 drinks. I'm just making enough to make 2 drinks. So you need to start with 5 ounces of frozen peaches that you've let thaw a little bit. And I gotta blend them up. All right, there's my peach puree. Like I said, I'm making 1 drink. So we're only gonna use about half of this peach puree right now. Maybe I will eat the rest of it with a spoon. Divide among glasses, so this would be 2 glasses in this case, but I'm only doing 1 drink. Pour half a cup of orange juice into each glass. So I went to Trader Joe's and I got some of their orange juice in this little bottle. This is a 2-ounce measuring cup, so I gotta do 2 of these. This is gonna look so good, I think. What? We got the peaches, we got the oranges. Add several ice cubes. I need to get some ice cubes, whatever several means. Slowly pour in ginger ale to fill glasses. Use your favorite ginger ale. I just so happen to have tiny cans of Vernors, which is my ginger ale of choice. If you didn't grow up in the Midwest, I guess, I don't know exactly how far-reaching Vernors is. I just know when we lived in California, they did not have it there. And I had to, when we drove across the country and back, I had to bring cases back with me. I like ginger ale in general, but Vernors, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Vernors. I'm gonna do it slow, so it's because it's very fizzy. Ooh. This is great. Didn't quite use the whole can, but we'll refrigerate it for later. And of course I need a little straw in there. There it is, my orange peach ginger fizz. Take a look at that glass. I got this glass from Grounds and Hounds. I don't even know if they still sell this one anymore, but it was a set of 2 as a Christmas gift to my husband when we first kind of started ordering from them. Isn't it cute? Look at all those cute little dog faces. So darling. Anyway, I know this is gonna taste good. I just can feel it. I'm gonna stir it a little bit because it's a bit layered. So I think you wanna stir it to get the full effect. That's good. Yeah, I think it's gonna vary a little bit depending on what kind of ginger ale you use. Actually, I don't know. It does blend very well, like blend in really well with both the orange juice and the peaches. You can really taste the acidity from the orange juice. This feels like a very fancy frozen drink. This issue of Good Food magazine came out in July of 1987, although this magazine itself was launched in the early 1970s. It was from Triangle Publications. Now, a couple of other magazines that you might be familiar with that they had in their portfolio at one time or another, 17 magazine, maybe you remember that, and TV Guide. So TV Guide was, well, when I was a kid, and I think when it was launched, it was digest size, which this magazine also is like a smaller, more digest size, right? I don't even know if TV Guide is really around in the same form anymore, but unfortunately Triangle Publications was sold about a year after this issue came out. There's also a Good Food magazine in the UK that I believe is in current publication. This is not the same thing. This is a different one. But Good Food magazine included new products, new cooking techniques and ideas, and of course, recipes. Let's take a look inside. Some of the things I love the most about magazines from the past, sometimes it's the ads. I'm even gonna show you just like on the back here, there's a Dole pineapple ad, but there's another very special Dole pineapple ad in here. Dole must have had a good budget at this time because they had 2 ads in this magazine and one of them featured Kenny Rogers. I didn't even know that he did ads for them. Another thing I love about all of these ads, it's the product packaging. Stuff like this can sometimes help you even like date cookbooks that don't have a publication date in them, because if you look at the packaging in like a magazine ad from the past, if you can match them up, it can give you a better idea of when the cookbook came out. A Velveeta ad here, including this packaging. And I think this is a stir fry recipe. And can you see, where is it? Yeah, right back here. I've got my Velveeta recipe box. I'm not sure if the stir fry recipe appears in that box, but I'll have to check. Other product ads, they have a lot of cigarette ads in these magazines. I'm gonna skip over those. We don't need to look at them. But again, I did a full flip through of this magazine on my Patreon. So if you like really wanna look at every page, you can go there and find it. My Patreon is just another way to help support me and my channel. I do magazine flip throughs over there. I talk about, it's basically anything that is like a mixed bag that I don't necessarily talk about on my main YouTube channel. I'll put it on Patreon. So check it out if you feel like it. There's always a link in the description. There's a Clausen pickle ad. So you can see the Clausen jar of pickles down here. I did mention that one of the features of this publication would be new products. And they do have like a whole article that's all about new products back in July of 1987. So this is just the first page, but you can see it's not just food items. It's like home decor, kitchen items, kitchen gadgets, all kinds of things. Look at that Pam product packaging up there. Definitely remember that. Gosh, just like, you know, 4 full pages of stuff. And then they have different recipe features in the magazine too that are very nicely themed. So this is called Supreme Scoops, and it's ice cream recipes. When I saw this, I thought it was like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and maybe coffee, and that is not the case. So I was like, oh, these are just the same old, same old. Yes, the vanilla ice cream, that is a vanilla ice cream recipe, but the other flavors, I gotta tell you what they are. This bottom one that I thought was just plain old chocolate is chocolate cinnamon orange. And then we also have a plum allspice and a butterscotch praline. I felt that those were like really interesting flavors, you know, just like a little bit outside the norm. Here's a whole Bastille Day spread. There's beef and vegetable aioli platter, a cold double berry souffle. Oh, the other thing I haven't mentioned yet, in the recipe sections, like if you want to make this whole Bastille Day meal, they give you a shopping list. So this article has an entire shopping list if you want to make every single thing on the menu. And just so you can see what that menu is a little bit, again here, it's like up in the corner, the whole thing. And as this is a summer themed issue, like a lot of the foods in here are very summery. 4 perfect burger toppings. Aren't those beautiful? I thought those looked very appetizing. A blue cheese and bacon burger, burgers with guacamole and salsa, double cheese and tomato, and mushroom topped burgers. And the mushroom one has like peppers and onions as well. So, you know, some different things you can do with your burgers. There's another fun ad for Heinz 57. So another product packaging. I mentioned TV Guide, you know, that they have a connection. They're part of the same publishing company at the time of this publishing. So you can kind of see some of that come through and some of the features. When I flipped through this magazine on Patreon, I had so much fun with this Picnic with the Stars because they have caricatures of all of these people who were super, you know, super famous at the time, TV shows. Yeah, I'll let you see if you can recognize some of those. The names are actually at the top, but I had a blast looking through them. There's actually one more page of this right here. So this was just like so much fun. I'm pretty sure that's Suzanne Summers. Yeah, I recognize quite a few. I was surprised by how many I got right. But I'm kind of like, oh yeah, you can really see that like TV Guide connection. The recipes I made today were part of this 4th of July sparklers feature, which 4th of July has come and gone, but I still wanted to make the drinks. I just thought they were super interesting. And I love a fun drink, I really do. And a few of these really stood out to me. The headline for this is Toast Old Glory with these fresh alcohol-free drinks. You do what you want, okay? Like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I typically don't drink alcohol. I think there are more and more people who are drinking less alcohol, or, you know, they're doing a dry month or whatever you call it. So it's kind of nice to have some options that you can either like drink without alcohol or you can add something to it if you want. I really like that. And I started with a limeade recipe. This one I was super interested in because I love the idea that you can make one drink at a time. I feel like lemonade and limeade recipes, you often see them and it's like you have to make 6 servings of lemonade or limeade, and you know, I don't usually want to do that. Maybe I want to make 1 or 2. So this one you actually make a syrup, which brilliant, yes. You can like make the syrup, keep it in the fridge, and then make drinks as needed, or even just add some of the lime syrup to other things just to jazz it up a bit. You can make this one sparkling or not. On camera, I made a sparkling limeade and tried it, and then today I actually made one with just plain water. I like this drink in the proportions that they give because I don't think it is too sweet. So it's 3 tablespoons of the syrup to 1 cup of water to 8 ounces of water. The plain limeade, that I drank today, I thought it was nice and tart. Sometimes you can get like overly sweet, like sickeningly sweet, but this was just like a nice light sweetness, and then that lime really came through. My husband, I gave him the rest of the sparkling limeade yesterday, and he was like, this is good, but it's almost too much lime for him. So if you think that the lime flavor is a little too strong, I would say you could probably add a little bit more water to it if you want. But yeah, this is one that I'm going to be making probably over and over. Just, you know, it's easy, and I don't know why I haven't thought of it before, because it's just simple syrup with lime juice, right? Yeah, sometimes those ideas just don't always occur to me. So I'm really glad that I found this recipe. I also made a peach, ginger, orange fizz. That's a lot of words. But all flavors I really like. This was probably the most involved recipe. Like I had to puree some fruit. You know, I had to buy some orange juice. I don't usually keep orange juice on hand because we don't drink it very often, but I was able to find a small amount. I always have ginger ale, probably multiple varieties of ginger ale, but I used Werner's for this one. This was super tasty and very refreshing. It was kind of like, you know, a nice frozen drink to drink on the hottest days of the year, which I feel like we're having right now where I live. I used frozen peaches because it said to do that in the recipe, and then I had to thaw them because it was like, oh, you need these frozen peaches need to be thawed, and I was like, well, why didn't I just use fresh? So I think you could use peaches in just about any form, any form that you have them. It was really good to use the frozen ones. I thawed them most of the way, but I left them just a little frozen. So it was like a little slushy, and it was kind of a nice feature. So you might want to try that if you decide to make this. The flavor is going to vary a little bit depending on your ginger ale, so just use your favorite. Whatever you like is what you should use. And the Spearmint Iced Tea. This was so refreshing. I'm like an occasional iced tea drinker. It's not something I think to make all the time. And I've made like iced green tea and just iced herbal tea. This one was really nice because it was a mix of like black tea and spearmint tea, or I used like a blend of peppermint and spearmint. So you got both of those flavors. It wasn't like a pure mint flavor, which can sometimes be a little bit overpowering if you're having something cold that's minty. It had that sort of like base kind of like anchoring black tea flavor, which I really liked. You know, another thing I don't think of doing is like mixing tea bags, like making different blends. That was kind of what you were doing here, is putting two things together to make something else. And it really worked. You could make this without sugar if you wanted to, like easily. If you don't like a sweet tea, this wasn't super sweet. It only had a couple tablespoons of sugar in the entire recipe, which really was fine for me. It was just about right. You can add lemon juice to this. I'm not like an iced tea with lemon person, so I didn't do that. I'm not really sure how that would be with the mint, but this is something I could see myself like keeping in my fridge for the rest of the summer. So do you remember Good Food Magazine? If you do, I'd love to hear about it. So please leave me a comment. I'd like to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to join us over there, I'll have a link in the description so that you can do that. Don't forget to look out for each other and take care of each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.